The current pandemic is teaching the world hard new lessons to age-old problems. Beyond the disease and its death toll, society and healthcare's response to fight the spread of COVID-19 is impacting the lives of hundreds of millions. Its damage likely to be felt for decades to come. With national economies and people's lives at stake, vast pharmaceutical science and industrial resources were marshaled to stop the virus and develop a vaccine to end its threat once and for all. But for COVID-19 and all viral threats to come, finding a vaccine isn't enough. Despite commercial pharma's best efforts, it's become clear there's a critical need to focus on the right type of vaccine and antibody development and production so we can do a better job at stopping pandemics faster and more effectively. The way vaccines are developed and rolled out is about the same as it has been for the past few decades, an approach that has worked well, but only to a certain point. Better suited for small populations and the rhythms of seasonal flu, the long timelines and high costs of pharma's current methods are no longer sustainable or adequate to respond to a global health crisis. What we need is a solution for 8 billion people, a ready-today solution that ensures vaccines and treatments are safe, affordable, and available to everyone, rich or poor. That's the vision, but the reality demands that it be developed at a reasonable cost. Currently, this isn't happening. It's like a puzzle piece that's the right shape, but nowhere near big enough. Actually, we have the science and all the pieces to solve the puzzle and complete this picture right now. And it's time key decision makers realized there is a better way. The foundation for vaccine and antibody development and production is the cell line. Currently, pharma is relying on legacy science and less efficient cell expression platforms with low yields at higher cost. In light of a global health crisis to come, past world approaches will never deliver on current world realities. We've got lots of trains that have left the station with various approaches for a vaccine. Where they end up is anyone's guess. Unfortunately, there's a lack of awareness that there is a new generation of high-speed trains using a whole new grade of track that can get us there quicker with a bigger payload and at a lower cost. Certainly, gene expression science isn't settled. Neither are the business models and platforms biopharmaceutical drug developers are using now to take their vaccines to market. In spite of the risk, some developers continue to roll the dice with cell-based cell lines and low-yield recombinant cell lines. This brings us to an inescapable fact. A COVID-19 vaccine or antibody that's unavailable or unaffordable is 100% ineffective. Fortunately, there is a solution. It's called C1. A very real and very viable cell line alternative, C1 is available from Dyadic, a 41-year-old American global biotech company with decades of experience delivering effective technology for next-gen protein expression and biopharmaceutical manufacturing. Here's the best thing about C1. Dyadic's solution isn't just tailor-made for fighting pandemics, it's got what it takes to power the future of vaccine and drug development and production, and in the process, help prepare society, pharma, and healthcare to meet what comes next with ease and affordability. Both vaccines and antibodies can be produced efficiently and at a low cost from C1 cells, which are recombinant-based cells versus mRNA, DNA, and other cell-based lines. Speed, quantity, purity, safety, and transferability make the Dyadic C1 cell line system optimal for processing commercial volumes of biopharmaceuticals economically. It's a platform-agnostic, scalable solution capable of bringing down the high costs associated with healthcare and manufacturing vaccines and antibodies on a global basis. So what needs to happen? Dyadic is already hard at work to make the change happen. In Europe, teaming with Zappi, created for speed and coordinated response to diseases as soon as they emerge, with the Israeli Institute for Biologic Research, and chosen by Frederick National Laboratory in the US to engineer C1 cell lines for vaccine candidates to be utilized by the Vaccine Research Center and at the National Institute of Health. We can and need to do better. Although manufacturers will continue to trust their current vaccine and drug production processes, the industry should consider a parallel approach, investing in C1 technology to hedge its and the world's bets. U.S. government and political players need to be open to new technology while exerting the necessary influence to push this solution and financial support to enable its success. In fact, Executive Order 13887 was issued in September of 2019, titled Modernizing Influenza Vaccines, that spoke precisely to this, and funding was to be directed with the aim to develop faster, more efficient, and more scalable vaccine manufacturing platforms. But the funding never happened. During this pandemic, the pharmaceutical industry in the U.S. received more than $10 billion in government support to figure out a vaccine and drugs. That helped find a vaccine this time, but at a cost that cannot be sustained, primarily using processes that can't meet society's needs. With C1, all the world's stakeholders have a superior economic path to develop and manufacture safe, high-quality vaccines and antibodies and get them to patients faster, in greater quantities, and at a reasonable cost. Putting it all together, Dyadic science, pharma's best minds, and C1, suddenly the world has a fighting chance to win the race with the proper global solution. It's time for C1. Dyadic, a solution to the solution, right in our own backyard. Interested in learning more about Dyadic and its unique and remarkable C1 cell line technology? Visit us at dyadic.com.